Today we have to summon some power. Pyramid power. Let's go. How's it going? Anthony Fro here, Create Sci-Fi. Well, I'm in production for the new short film. And if you follow me, you know it's all about Ancient Alien for me. Nothing says Ancient Alien like a pyramid. So, on my set, this is how they, well, like the ship is hot wired, and this is how they do that. So, filmed last week. If you're watching this in the future, you could just watch this stuff, watch the film. If you're watching in real time, we'll probably be in production, post-production for a couple months. But yeah, very excited about this. So what I did is, if you follow like my channel, like I said, I'll link. I did like a cube video, and I used that technique to make the pyramid. It always helps to make things even if they're not for films, because then when I was ready to make this for a film, I knew exactly what I was going to do, and I had already spent the time to teach myself that, right? So this is very basic. It's just made this out of styrene plastic. You could probably even find a pyramid online somewhere. A little bit of aluminum tape, and then I, you know, the quick cut, the die cut sticker things. Now I wanted to buy one, couldn't afford it, but you know, I just did this with label paper and just cut it out. But yeah, very excited about these. And let's just hop right into it, and I'll show you how I made 2 of them. What? Whoa. All right, just a quick stop into Photoshop. It's a pyramid. It's kind of symmetrical. Don't want to eyeball this or measure it. And also, too, I want to set up the text, right? So just some alien font, because I want to have some writing on here. But mainly, I just want to get a template for my pyramid, just so that everything is all uniform and pyramid-y. Is that a word? Because pyramid is kind of thing where it has to be perfectly measured or it will look strange, unless that's what you're going for. So now I'm just trying to maximize my materials. Unfortunately, I couldn't get all the pieces I needed out of one sheet, so I'm trying to figure out the best way so that I can still have the scrap sheet left over to use for something else. And also here it occurs to me that there's 4 sides. For some reason there was 3, but then there's the bottom. So now I'm just using some EVA foam. So because this is a prop for the film, I'm going to use magnets to sort of keep everything together, and magnets are always sort of a quick and easy solution. I want to be able to have these pyramids sort of locked into another piece, which you'll see later, and I want to be able to spin them, and the easiest way to do that is with magnets, right? So these rare earth magnets, boy, they're no joke. Like if you get your finger stuck in between them, it will hurt. So here I'm just cutting out a little bit of a space in the foam so I can embed the magnet. And again, the foam is just mainly because these magnets are so powerful, I just wanted some kind of like buffer, so it wasn't just straight on. It might be too strong, I guess is what I was thinking. And then this is just give it a little more stability to the bottom of the prop. And I'm not sure if I show it, but I am making 2 of these. So pretty much everything that I do off camera, I'm doing a second time. So yeah, a little hot glue. I always use hot glue and super glue when it's props production most of the time, because it's sort of, you want to keep the ball rolling. So here I'm just using some tape so that I can fold this all origami style. Again, I'm always good with things that are rough and tumble. Whenever it's something like a pyramid, you know, where it's symmetrical and would look weird if it's not perfect, I always do have a challenging time. I work through it, but you know, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, so it's something that's a challenge for me. Some people are very good at meticulous, precise work. I am not. I wish I was, but the grass is always greener on the other side, and you still have to mow it. So here is a pyramid. And I mentioned this, I think, in the top. You could probably find something on Amazon or at a, like a dollar store or something. I'm sure you could find this form, but I just decided to make it myself because it's pretty straightforward. But certainly you could probably skip this step and find some sort of donor pyramid, I don't know, candle light or something. And you could just jump in right here. So now I'm testing the magnet. There you see I have 2 of them, see? And I'm trying to figure out spacing because I want them to spin. So now we're moving on to the detail. So here I've printed out, now this is label paper. I really do want to invest in one of those vinyl cutters, like the Crit Cut is the one that comes up a lot. And I will one day, but I couldn't justify the expense for this. So lots of times, sort of your limitations dictate creative direction. Now see, the font, the alien font that I'm using in this is kind of large, right? So if I was doing with like a vinyl cutter, I probably would have done like 6 lines, but that's fine. And I just cut everything out by hand. And I think in real time, this only took me about 20 or 30 minutes to do 3 of them. So, I would prefer to have the cutter, but I couldn't justify the expense for this particular project. But, one day I'm sure one will show up. So now I'm just sanding everything, sanding. This is going to get completely covered in foil tape, as you'll see, but, just want to smooth it out. I'm sure there's some super glue drips and, just make sure the corners all line up nicely before we start committing to some permanent looks. Here's the isopropyl alcohol. Just want to clean it up. I always clean up before gluing or painting or sticking with isopropyl, just because it cleans up stuff really well and it just evaporates pretty instantly, so you don't have to wait around while something's wet. So now here I have my triangles, my label paper, and just trying to line these up as best as possible. And looking good. It's funny, like, you always take your time with these processes. Not so much to get that on perfectly, but you're like, oh man, I do not want to have to cut out another sheet of these. So maybe that's another good reason for not using the easy way, the printer, the sticker printer. It makes you more focused. So now I have my 3 sides. And so here I'm taking the aluminum tape, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to give it a metallic finish. But the main reason for using this is what it's going to do is where we have those indentations where the symbols, letters, sigils, whatever you want to call them, are, they're going to take on that shape, right? And it's going to give it a nice effect. It's going to make it look like they're carved in there or burned in there or something, but something that sort of elevates our prop, the look of our prop, right? It's going to give it more production value. It's going to be tactile. We filmed while I'm shooting this now. I probably filmed a couple weeks ago, and these pyramids I still have. Like, certain things during production, you just check it out. It just becomes garbage, but these, like, I saved because there's something about them. So now I'm just going over this with the double steel wool for 2 reasons. One, to sort of knock down the shine of the foil, and then also to, you see there, to really embed those indentations, right? That negative space is starting to come together. So now I use a really cheap, purposely I use cheap spray paint, right? Because we're going to scrape off most of this. So you don't want to use a quality spray paint for this step. And then what I'm doing, I've learned over the years, is just to add some other colors, just little teases, just a little gold. I think the purple and the red are like anodized paints, right? So they're a little bit translucent. And it's just, most of this is going to come off, but just those little hints of the other colors really kick something off. And then I think what I'm about to do here next is now I just mist, just a little mist, a little black all over that just to make a little sandwich. And there you see, that's what it looks like before we sand it off. And it's just going to give it a more interesting look. Like 90% of that is going to come off, but you know, there'll be those little flecks of gold or red or blue. And your eye won't pick them up, but because this is a film prop, the camera will kick those off. I don't know what the science is behind that, but I do know from experience that it does do that, right? So here, I just kind of go through the grits. I think I started off really conservative, like with a high grit, because I thought that would be best. And no, the best was to just go at it. I think I'm using like a 150 there. And it gives it the scratches, it makes the symbols pop, and it's doing all the things I want. The only downfall of it going with the higher grit is I do tear up the edges a little, but once I realize it's doing that, I'm just a little careful with that. So now, nicotine spray. Love this stuff. It's just like a translucent, exactly like what it sounds. You can see what it's doing there. And just, oh, mwah, chef's kiss. It dries quick, and what's nice about that stuff is it's water-based too, so you could pull it off. So now, you know, just like when we weather props, we're just sealing that all in. Look at that, like little coffee stain. You don't really ever see it like we're looking at it now. It's always in the background, but it does have life. So now I want to put a foam base on these just to kind of clean it up, make it soft. And again, because it's a film prop, want to deaden the sound. So here I found this EVA foam sheets that have a sticky side. I actually, of all places, just randomly found them at the dollar store. And I actually, if you went to the dollar store after me, they'd be gone. I just bought them all. But I'm sure we can find them on Amazon somewhere. I'll have a link. But, you know, for stuff like this, it's perfect. Because otherwise, I would have to spray glue or use barge or something, where this is just easy. Bing, bang, boom. So here, with the heat gun, that's not a hairdryer, that's a heat gun. That just seals the cells in the foam. And if there's any ragged edges, it just kind of clears them up, right? So pyramid power, ancient alien, I'm all about it. So now I want these to have like a, sort of like a base plate. And here I left this in. So I was just trying to figure out, you know, sometimes you overcomplicate things. I know I wanted it to be like a sunken, like, tray. And what I originally was going to do was cut it out of the foam, or the insulation foam. I was going to make it like a sink. And I abandoned that idea, and I used foam, EVA foam as the base. And then I realized it'd be easier just to cut strips of the insulation foam, which you'll see in a minute. So here I'm embedding the receiving magnet, I guess the other magnet that'll make this all work together. Doing very similar process here. And again, like, I like embedding it in the foam because it gives it a little barrier. Now, if you wanted, I probably want to do this if I wanted the things to lock together, but I don't want them to lock together, right? I want it to be able to spin. So creating just these little barriers of foam, as I'm demonstrating there. And it's just enough, right? It's not like super grippy, it's just enough. And then the actor will feel it, and then it'll make their performance more realistic when they're spinning it, because there will be a little resistance, and that stuff does make a difference. So here's what I said, where I rethought my ideas, and I just made these strips. So I'm just cutting out a bunch of these, and I'm going to go ahead and make like a sink, like a tray. And then here I just need corners. So I just had this idea here. I'm just going to cut these out, and the idea is they're like, you'll see, they're going to be like stones or tiles. So like cutting them up in this way worked out perfectly fine, right? So here I'm assembling my brilliant idea. And oftentimes with this stuff, it's like I don't really have, I'm not really working from a plan. I'm working from my imagination. And it's typically something that I've spent a week sort of daydreaming about, like, oh, what does this look like? And then as I start to assemble it, then certain things fall into place, and then the things don't work out. The ones that don't work out that's the problem solving, right? So now I saved these offcuts of the letters that I cut out of the triangle. And what I'm going to do here is they're going to do the same thing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place these around the perimeter of this, like I said, this basin, this sink. And it's just going to, you know, add a little bit of text, and it's going to sort of tie the whole thing together. Here, this is just like a wood burning, or it might even be a soldering iron, an old like dollar store one. Just making a little bit of, you know, little scratches and chips in the foam. And then here, so like when we did the negative one on the pyramid, this will do the same thing, right? When we paint it black, this will sand off, and then we'll be left with the residue and sort of the look of that letter or symbol, whatever it is, right? So here I'm creating this tray. And then, again, this is a film prop, so the bottom, using gaff tape, duct tape, it's sort of like, you know, at a certain point, it gets overwhelming. You're making all this stuff, and you're like, well, in reality, this only is going to be on set for 2 days, right? 24 hours, 12-hour days, 2 12-hour days. So, you know, am I going to make it bulletproof? If I have to, I will. If I don't, you know, you have to cut your losses, choose your battles. Again, I always say this. Now, if you're looking at my stuff and you're not making it for a film, you just want to make this for like tabletop gaming or just as a neat thing to have or just for fun, you might want to make it a little more bulletproof or a little more finished. But for me, this is what I need to do. Same process as the pyramid, just cutting these down and putting on the black paint. And off camera there, I did the same treatment with the gold and the red. So now it's just some Scotch-Brite, some 100 grit, which is what I learned from the last one. And talk about tools that I use a lot. That foam hook and loop palm sander is probably the most used thing that I owned. You never know. You just buy things randomly. So there, I'm just cleaning it up. More nicotine spray. So basically, you know, we're making it match the pyramids. It's a set. And then some clear. And I don't even know what this is. Like, I just wanted to have like this kind of tray that they lived in. So here, just using some tape to get rid of the last. There's like lots of little, because of the magnet in there, it attracts any like shavings in the shop. So this is the bottom. So, you know, even though I said about, you know, how the bottom is just tape and stuff, I am still tidying it up with these little pieces of the adhesive EVA foam that I have left, just because, I don't know, habit, I guess, but that's totally unnecessary. But now, if you don't have a heat gun, you know, using like one of these sort of cigar lighters is a good way to clean up the fuzzies on the end and seal the foam. Heat gun definitely works better, but you know, that was fine. So here, now this, I can't use the adhesive EVA foam because it's a larger area that I want to cover here. So this, I'm going to do the old fashioned way, which is going to be, I'm going to cut a sheet to the exact size, and then I'm going to adhere it with some 77 with some, you know, rubber cement style spray. But 77, this is kind of like a catch-all. It's a good adhesive for doing all sorts of stuff. And here I'm just sort of making sure that all my corners are down because, you know, we're going to be spinning this around. Actors are going to be handling it. And then now let's just test it out. Bloop, bloop. That's, see, it's just enough grab. Just enough grab. And then off camera, I just had to do some weathering on these and add some slime, which when you see the film, it'll make sense. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a little teaser of that. But there they are, like very happy with those. Very, very happy with ancient alien tech. Yeah. Very happy with these. And they looked really great on camera. So like I said, I shot last week. Let me show you a couple shots of these from the film.
Elegant. Simple.
Like I said, very excited to share this with you. It's coming out really good. Like I said, film post-production probably is going to take me another 2 to 3 months. Then festivals, then it'll probably be on the channel in 4 to 5 months. But if you're watching this in the future, there'll be a link somewhere. You can just watch it now. But yeah, very happy with those. Well, I got to get back to editing. So as always, I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Love to read the comments. Be sure to check out the merch shop. We got the hats, got shirts. Buying those really helps the channel. And remember, I'm just here to help make sci-fi.